Our father Lila and I will explain to you what is climate change. Did you guys know our planet is a little six due to the gases that accumulate in the atmosphere and that are causing the temperature of the earth to rise as if it had a fever, and this turn causes drought, flood, frost, and more catastrophic in difficult part of the world. So, please watch the entire video to get more knowledge about climate change and the effects to the marine biodiversity.
Climate change is one of humanity's most severe and urgent challenges, as can be expected for anything that has a worldwide impact. The term climate change is used to denote the long-term changes in the weather pattern in a given region. Another term often interchanged with climate change is global warming. Global warming is the term used to describe the rising of the average temperature on Earth. In other words, it's the process of our entire planet heating up in the last century. The Earth was warmed by average of 1 degree Celsius, which might not sound like a significant change, but it could have a big impact on the people and animals around the globe, at present and in the future. There are several factors that may affect the climate change. The first factor is natural sources and human activities that both result in the emission of greenhouse gases. Next, carbon dioxide that produced by smoke from cars, smoke from factories, and deforestation, which is when the trees in our forests are burned excessively. Most common ways these gases get released is through the burning of fossil fuels. Burning coal or oil to run industrial process or giant factories increases the concentration of atmospheric carbon dioxide. Indeed, fossil fuels' contribution to greenhouse gas emission is the largest in the range of 70 to 80% of total emissions. Second factor is methane that produced by garbage that decomposes with heat and rain, also by animal feces that it poops, such as cow that produce many of methane. Third factor is nitrous oxide that originate from the use of compost or fertilizer that used to improve the characteristic and condition of the soil to be able to cultivate more and more. Last but not least is chlorofluorocarbon and sulfur hexafluoride. Whether the gas is produced by aerosols, foams, and cleaning products to clean air conditioners, these gases affect climate change depends on their amount and their global warming potential or GWP. This metric tells us how long a gas remains in the atmosphere on average and how strongly it absorbs energy. As you can imagine, climate change doesn't happen overnight. These changes occur over decades or even centuries.
Hello, my name is Tengku Nabil. Now, do you know what is the effect of climate change towards the marine diversity? Here are some of the major consequences of the impact of climate change on the ocean. The first one is sea level rise. Sea level rise has been accelerated in a recent decade due to increasing ice loss in the world polar region. Latest data from the World Meteorological Organization shows that global mean sea level reached a new record high in 2021. Next, marine heat wave. Marine heat waves have doubled in frequency and have become longer lasting, more extensive and intense. The IPCC says that human influence has been the main driver of the ocean heat increase observed since the 1970s. The majority of heat waves took place between 2006 and 2015, causing widespread coral bleaching and reef degradation. In 2021, nearly 60% of the world ocean surface experienced at least one spell of marine heat wave. The United Nations Environment Programme says that every one of the world coral reef could bleach by the end of century if the water continues to warm. Coral bleaching occurs as reefs lose their life-sustaining microscopic algae when under stress. The last global bleaching event started in 2014 and extended well into 2017, spreading across the Pacific, Indian, and Atlantic Ocean. The last one is loss of marine biodiversity. Rising temperature increase the risk of loss of marine and coastal ecosystem. Today, widespread changes has been observed, including damage to coral reef and mangrove that support ocean life and migration of species to higher latitudes and altitudes where the water could be cooler. Latest estimation from United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization warned that more than half of the world's marine species may stand on the brink of extinction by 2100. At a 1.1 degrees Celsius increase in temperature today, an estimated 60% of world marine ecosystem have already been degraded or are being used unsustainably. A warming of 1.5 degrees Celsius threatens to destroy 70 to 90% of coral reef, and 2 degrees Celsius increase means nearly 100% loss. This means a point of no return.
Next, the action. Action to reduce the effects of climate change. First, action taken by government is by making climate change agreement. For example, Paris Agreement was signed in 2015 by COP Conference of the Parties, where nations agreed to limit and reduce gas emission.
Conviction. It is an agreement of solidarity with the most vulnerable. It is an agreement of long-term vision.
Regulation of carbon tax that charged by government of carbon emission that was implemented in several countries such as Argentina, Canada, and others.
For an example of how well a carbon tax can work, we only have to look at the province of British Columbia in Canada. In 2008, British Columbia implemented a carbon tax on 70% of their province's emissions.
Next, what we can do to reduce the climate change. First, replace fossil fuel into renewable energy such as solar and wind power, which will emit zero carbon emission when operating. If we use more reusable and renewable resources, this will reduce the amount of energy needed to create new products. It also reduces the massive amount of landfill dumping. Third, use fuel-efficient cars. You can drive hybrid car or fuel-efficient car instead of regular car. These can prevent about 1 ton of carbon dioxide into atmosphere. Fourth, use public transport. You can take public transportation or you can walk or bike. Number 5. Use energy-efficient bulb by replacing regular light bulb with light-emitting diode or LED bulb that can save energy. Number 6. Use dryer closets instead of using power machine such as dryers. And the last one, turn off electronics and light when not use them. What we can do is spread the knowledge about climate change to reduce the carbon dioxide emission to save our Earth.